Hello, everyone. We have Hitesh Talreja here for a conversation. He's a senior data analyst working for Accenture. He comes from a Bachelor of Commerce or a bcom background. So he's such an inspirational story for many of you who wants to move to data science field coming from a bcom background. During our conversation, we will be giving you a lot of tips on how you can transition from bcom to data analyst background, and overall this conversation will be very useful, especially if you're coming from Bachelor of Commerce background. So Hitesh, welcome, and thank you for sparing out time out of your busy day.
Thanks, yeah, thank you.
All right, so you are a graduate of Bachelor of Commerce. You did your BCom from some university in Mumbai, and now you are a senior data analyst. You have more than 3 years of experience as a data analyst, and I think 2 years of your experience was in some other domain. So let's begin with what do you do at the present, and what do you enjoy the most in your data analyst job?
So currently I am working with multiple projects. One of the projects that I'm working on that requires me to monitor the data that operation teams sends out to us, and we prepare, say we clean it out using certain tools, majorly Excel, and then we put it into Power BI, and we represent it in a visual. So basically, we are the mediator for the client and the operations team, and so they deliver the data. That's how we clean it and we present it to the clients.
I see. So in terms of tools, you're saying you use mainly Excel and Power BI.
Yeah, for my current role, Excel and Power BI are the main tools that we are working on.
Okay. And before
But at
this current job,
mm,
you were working as a data analyst in some other firm also, right? So I
mm,
think the name of that firm was Just by
it was
Live
just by
Enterprise.
live. Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. So it was a sub company for Herman and Gordon. It, so JBL speakers that we had a financer from yeah. So we had a financer uh, from that company uh, putting out funds to Just Buy Live, which was a startup for e-commerce. And yeah, I was working with that company for say quite a bit, around 8 9 months. It was a startup, it didn't last long. So
I see.
there was not much of fundings, and they had to call off the operations.
Got it. Got it. Uh, so let's begin with your journey. So you can come from BCom background. So can you tell us your journey or a step-by-step process of how after you graduated as a BCom graduate, uh, where did you begin your job first, and what got you interested in data analyst job, and what steps did you take? Because nowadays many people complain that when there is a data analyst job, they look for a computer science background, and if the person is coming from BCom background, it is very hard even to get an interview call. So you must have faced those challenges. So just tell us your whole story step by step.
Okay, yeah. Well, that is true to a certain point where it is difficult for people out there to uh, get the calls for interview, but I would say it's not impossible. So to explain the procedure, how I, you know, uh, went through this journey, I started with a BBI. BBI is for banking and insurance. I had few KTs. I was not quite interested in commerce because the bunch of friends that I had, they were engineers. So one of my friend, I think it was 2015 or 16, sometime back. I mean, whenever I was, the getting into this field. So one of my engineer friend, he told me that you know this is the new buzzword, and people are just trying to get into this field. There are many institutes trying to teach this, and they are asking about teaching the skills. So I was kind of I so the type of person I am, I do a lot of research, and then I take a decision and move on to something that I have interest for. So after some time, I did some analysis, and yeah, I thought, yeah, maybe this is what the the world is going towards. So let's possess these skills. So I joined some online uh, you know classroom online classes,
Courses.
something
Yeah, yeah, okay.
courses, but uh, it didn't quite work very well because I was not from a programming background, or I didn't have much of coding experience. So that didn't work quite well for me. So I thought, let's step back. And I had KTs, I hadn't cleared that off. So I thought, let's focus on what I have left behind. So I cleared off those KTs first. Later, by the time I had watched many videos in that online course, and it had got my interest. But it was not, you know, uh, the assignments that they had, that were to the next level. I mean, just by
Okay.
looking at the videos,
Uh-huh.
you were able to complete those assignments. They were difficult. So
Okay.
I left that. The time was finished to submit those assignments. So by the time I cleared the KTs, I thought, let's move again to what has got my interest. So I tried to contact them, if I could submit the assignments now. They said I have to pay some money to get the access back. So I thought, maybe this might not be the thing for me, because uh, learning online in your own space, plus there was support over the email. Whenever you try to call them, they would arrange a call back whenever the tutor was available. So even when they call back, whenever the tutor calls you back, even you should be available. You should be free from your mind to understand what the concepts he's trying to make you understand. So I thought, let's not invest more money into it. And I joined a classroom uh, uh, yeah, course. So there I learned a lot, because the focus of the learning was to practice it. So if my tutor is making me learn a new concept, a new topic, he was more over to, he was more on to that you practice this skill, only then we'll move on to the next topic.
So just to
So
summarize, you tried online courses first, that didn't go well. So now you join in-person classes where you're going to classroom and teaching in person, right? Uh,
yeah,
and this was after graduating as a BCom, directly you started all these
yeah,
courses? I
yeah.
see.
So the course that I joined online, that was while I had KTs, and after completing my KTs, I had just joined the classroom training, but that was specifically for R R language.
Our language, I see. And by the way,
Yeah,
what is KT? Sorry, I don't know the full form of that.
KT back, back. You're not able to clear the exams.
Oh, I see. Got it, got
You didn't get
it.
another chance.
Okay, got it.
Right.
Well, see, this is very inspirational actually. You had KTs in your college days and you in these courses, and
Yeah,
you are now a successful data analyst. So for
yeah.
all those who don't do academically well, Hitesh is a nice example that getting marks is one thing, and performing in real life is a different thing. So that's really good. So you did all this in-person class, let's say, and then after,
Yeah.
did you start applying as a data analyst job directly, or did you work in some other domain?
No. So after my classroom class, I only had skills for R. Also, in the same time, like these were my weekend classes. The weekdays that I was spending, I was already working in a BPO, where I was building reports for the team. So with practicing Excel, I picked up certain skills in Excel, and I had just two skills, Excel and R. but those were not enough to you know meet the demand that we have in the real world. So I thought, let's give another try, and I joined another course, and that was like a full fledged course. I learned many skills in that, mainly visualizations and Python. So that got the ball rolling. So even that was an online class, but at that point in time, I understood, that projects and assignments are the things to do. You just can't, you know, sit in front of the computer, sit in front of the laptop, and watch some videos and claim that I have
I
possessed the
have
skills and I am a
exactly.
data scientist.
It's like learning swimming, right? If you want to learn swimming, you can't just watch a video. You have to jump in the pool.
Jump into it.
Okay, so then, so just to summarize for our viewers, so you start with BCom, tried online course, didn't go that well, tried classroom style course, where you learned Python, R mainly, and then you also started working in BPO where you developed Excel skills. So now you have
Yeah.
Excel and R skills, then you join another course where you build more visualization skills. So once you
Mhm.
have those skills, after that, how did you get your first data analyst job?
So I was fed up working in the BPO. I mean, I thought, after having these skills, and if I don't, uh, work towards these skills, I will lose those skills.
Right.
So I quit my job in the BPO, and uh, it was difficult for the time being. I didn't have a job. It took me around, say, I'd say around 5 months or so that
Wow.
I picked up the job, the new job. So by that time, I was also working on some projects. I had like 3 or 4 projects on my resume by the time. So this startup, like I would say, it's easier to get into a startup when you are, uh, having these skills, because they don't, like, if you directly try to jump into a big company, a tech giant, they would have a lot of questions.
I see.
They would ask each and everything about what you have learned, how about your projects. I mean, even though but it would be the first phase that you are giving an interview in a tech giant where you have just learned those skills and you are up for an interview. So uh, working in a startup, I think that was what made it easier for me. And yeah, that's where I picked up more skills. Fortunately, that was also on R and Excel that they were functioning, because it was e-commerce company and the data was not very structured. They had raw data in the form of Excel. They were working on CRMs. Manually, data had to be extracted, and it was in Excel. So I that's where my role, I into data cleaning and giving valuable information out of the data, the patterns and everything that came into picture.
Got it. So again, just to summarize, you began with startup because it was easy to get an interview call. With BCom background, it might be hard to get a call in big multinational company. And in that startup, they were using R and Excel, and you already had those skills by that time. And you had some good projects. I think the projects are very important on your resume. So if you have your resume with a good like projects portfolio, like real life projects, I think that will help you a lot in terms of getting interview call. So when you were interviewed in your first job, like what question did they ask really?
So more or less it was like general questions, and like a personal interview, more about yourself, family background, why did you leave your job, and
Hmm.
things like that. uh, on the technical part, they gave me, say, a set of 10 questions, and asked me to solve it. More of the questions were based out of a simple logic, like applying formulas, and um, I don't remember all the questions at the moment, but they were
So they
close
were
to,
Excel question.
yeah.
Okay, I see. So they ask Excel question, but nothing like crazy about programming, right?
No, because even they were looking out for uh, a start. Like it was a startup. They didn't have much of the idea what the data analysts do, and
Hmm.
possibly that that was my luck, I would say.
Hmm.
And it was not like I was looking for a job in a startup.
Hmm.
It just, you know, I I got to know that they are hiring. I applied and it worked. I would say that.
I see. And do you recommend any job portals to apply for a job? Um, because someone asked this question in the YouTube community
Mhm.
post.
Mhm. I would say there are no specific job portals, but the most effective or the most efficient one is LinkedIn. It's not
Uh,
for jobs, but you can do your research, what market is hiring, what skills that the person who is searching for the job possess, and how they can, you know, meet up the demands and then start applying, say, the jobs over LinkedIn, because many companies are now posting jobs over LinkedIn as well.
yes.
Another website is Naukri is quite helpful, because my but friends have got jobs from Naukri, but personally I haven't got jobs from Naukri. But
Naukri,
yeah,
got
many of
it.
my friends have got jobs in
Okay.
Naukri.
So if you have any international viewers, Naukri.com is a portal for jobs in India. Hitesh is from India, so of course he's talking from the perspective of India. If you talk about US, there is Indeed.com, there is Monster. There are a couple of job portals that you can use to find a job. Now, sometimes people think that if you're coming from a Bachelor of Commerce background, your background really doesn't help with the job. And I think that's big misconception, because when you're doing bcom, you are learning mathematics, you are learning statistics, you were in banking and insurance, so you learn a lot of things about your domain, right? Like how banking and insurance works. So my view is that your bcom studies are going to be actually very helpful if you're looking for a data analyst job, right? So do you want to add anything on that, Hitesh? Like, when you are in bcom, what skills did you learn those help you in your data analyst job?
Right. So maths is very common in all the fields, maybe BCom or BBI, say BFM, or like whichever field that you chose in commerce with specialization, like I had in banking and insurance. Uh, Maths is very common in that. We had Maths 1 and Maths 2. I remember the topics from, uh, learning from my college days. More or less, it was mean, median, mode, regression. We had probability, some distributions, normal distribution, binomial distribution. Those I actually, when I was actually in college learning those, I was just thinking, where do I actually use it? But
Yeah.
when I got into this field, I got to know that, I have learned this, and this is where they actually use it. So
Uh,
that's where the value lies.
I see. Good. So if you're looking at all this normal distribution, statistics, those are super helpful when you're doing data analysis, right? If you want to, let's say, remove outliers, you can use a technique of 3 standard deviation or more. And that is what they teach you in BCom. So of course, whatever you learn from your education, they are going to be definitely helpful. And same thing applies for domain, right? Banking and insurance. BCom has probably different domains, and all those domains knowledge is going to be super helpful when you're looking for a data analyst job. Next topic we want to cover is that people argue that it's hard to get calls if you're coming from BCom background. So I think we covered this partially, but we'll just summarize that. Yes, if you are coming from BCom background, it might be hard to get calls. You need to have patience. Hitesh waited for 5 months, and during those 5 months, maybe get a job in BPO or some other industry where you can at least work on Excel. So that way you are at least developing your Excel skills, because Excel is till date the most used tool in data analyst job. Okay. Even
That's
I also use Excel a lot. So Excel is definitely helpful. So maybe get a job in, let's say, some BPO or some other job where you're using Excel. And meanwhile, start preparing for data analyst skills. Start learn maybe Power BI, visualization, some Python or R, and then show those projects on your resume. And then you start applying for maybe startups. As you mentioned, startups will hire you, and once you build startup experience, you can also go to multinational company, right? Is there any other tip you would like to add, Hitesh?
Yeah, I would like to add here because I also get a lot of questions on my LinkedIn. Uh, People are asking, how do I transition from say like majorly engineering to uh, a data scientist. I personally feel that they, from whichever field that they come from, maybe it's engineering, maybe it's bcom, they should have patience to move from a field, from one field to another field. uh, they, what they think is, this is my personal opinion, what they think is, as soon as I get a degree or I complete a course, I should be bombarded with all the emails that there's this opening, there's this opening. That's not how it works in the real world, to be frank.
Yeah,
Yeah, it takes time. You have to take another person into your confidence. Meanwhile, you can work on projects, multiple projects, and showcase them on your resume on github. And that's how you build up the confidence when you go for an interview, that the, the interviewer should think, the person that is sitting in front of me, the skills that he has mentioned in his resume, he possesses that skills. So
I see.
that's one of the point that I wanted to add.
Okay, perfect, perfect. And people ask the subsequent question, which is, okay, how do I get those projects? And my usual answer is, uh, okay, your first data analytics project could be, and this is what I discussed with Hemanan, who appeared on my channel for a
Mhm.
conversation, is you start maintaining your own personal expenses in an Excel file. Let's say you're spending so much money on mobile bill, electricity, rental, start maintaining those like month to month expenses in Excel, and then start doing data analytics on that Excel, right? Like plot some charts, do VBA macros, try to do the same thing in Python and Pandas, try to plot some trends in Power BI. That will be your first very basic project. I'm not saying that's something you show it on your resume, but then it gives you confidence that you did your first project. Then you start working on more projects. So more projects, you can find it from Google. I'm also planning to start a data analysis project series. I will have my first project coming up very soon, where we'll be doing Power BI visualization. So you can follow these resources for doing projects. And the third option is, if you're working in some company, let's say you are working in BPO, you deal with a lot of Excel files. And if you have some manual processes, try to automate them using Python, or try to uh, build creative solution out of it. So at your job also, you can find some ways of working on those projects. So building the project portfolio is not as hard as we think it is, right? All right, so let's move on to the next topic, which is, what challenges did you face when transitioning to data analyst career from BCom background? You mentioned one thing, which is you need to have a lot of patience, right? You
Mhm.
waited
Yes.
for 5 months. But other than that, like, did you have any other challenges that you want to mention?
Uh, so I would not say major challenges that I have faced from transitioning uh, from BCom over to data science or data analysis. Primarily because I had my friends working in companies. They did try to uh, make me understand that this is what the skills that you should have. These are the basic questions. These would be the assignments that would be given to you, and so on and so forth. So that helped me jump the skill gap, or I would say the questionnaires that the interviewer would ask. uh, that made it a lot easier for me.
I see. I think
But
that you gave a very useful tip. You had friends, so you had great connections who were already in this field. Now, let's say if you
correct.
are from a small town and if you don't have a friends who are in data analyst field, what I suggest them is, okay, go to LinkedIn, try to build a relationship with people who are in data analysis field, and by building those relationships, you will gain a lot of knowledge, actually. So that is probably one way that you can build connections, and you can utilize those connections whenever you want to transition.
Yes. Yeah, right. LinkedIn is very powerful tool that people are missing out on. They should be using LinkedIn. They should be using it for say maybe finding a job, or at least if they are not looking for a job, or if they are also trying to do the market analysis where what exactly the skills are ongoing in the market. At least
Mhm.
they can do some research on that. It's a very powerful tool.
I see. And so if someone is trying to transition to, let's say, data analysis field, and if that person is a fresher or if the person is an experienced, what are the tips you would give to that person who wants to transition to this step by step? And by the way, how much time does it take to learn these skills?
uh so I would say the major, I think I'm having some technical issues. Let
It's
me.
fine. I think even if your audio is coming, I see your video is frozen, but it's fine. You can just mention your audio is coming. Okay.
Okay, okay, you can hear me, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So anyone who is looking for a transition, so from a BCom or say any field, maybe if it's engineering, or from any field that they are looking for a transition into data analysis or data science field, the primary thing that they would focus on, as per my view, would be trying to gain more and more knowledge on the skills. So once they have the skills that they possess, primarily these would be the three things that they would try to gain. First
Mhm.
would be a language, that could be any language, R or Python, or any other language of their choice, majorly R and Python. Secondly, they can choose a visualization tool, maybe Power BI, Tableau, Alteryx, ClickView, any one of these, and a database, out of which the most common is SQL. And
Hmm.
it's fairly simple to learn SQL. Uh, Plus, you would have good knowledge when you try to learn SQL. And when you possess these three skills, it's not just learning skills. You will also have to apply these skills. So
Hmm.
when you work on different projects, say time series, or we have house price projects, or any project of their choice, uh, that's where you get to learn how much of the skill that you have tried to learn, how much have you actually grasped out of it. So with time, you build more projects, you gain more knowledge, and that's how you showcase uh, more and more projects. And you take, whenever there's a chance of getting an interview or getting a call from interviewer, at least whenever you'll have say minimum 5 projects, you can speak confidently, that these are the skills that I have mentioned on my resume, and I possess these skills.
I see. Got it. Got it. So the next topic is how easy is it to enter data analysis field with a BCom background? Because many people think it is extremely difficult. Sometimes people think even, is it even possible? So do you want to share some lights on that?
Yeah, I would say it is not easy, but it is also not difficult. It depends on the patience that you have, the power of grasping that you have. Also, the connections do matter while getting the jobs. But majorly, it's the skills. So the focus when a person is transitioning into data science, data analysis, the focus should be on learning the skills. So once you learn the skills, like I have mentioned in the previous question, you should know how to put these skills in practice. When you know how, like I hold some skill, maybe Excel, maybe R, Python, whichever skill. So if I don't know how to put that in practice, that is no use to me. The skill is of no use to me. So
Got
I
it.
think that understanding is what makes a difference.
I see. And how likely are companies to hire someone with a BCom background as a data analyst?
So I would not be the best person to answer this, because see, many companies they have different norms, They have different criterias that they are looking out for, a data analyst or data scientist position. But at the same time, we are at short of the skill, as globally, when we look at the problems, the data, that at what rate that it is growing,
Hmm.
we are definitely short of skilled people. So the companies are also becoming lenient while looking for the targeted
Hmm.
roles. Previously, it was only the focus that they are specifically looking out for engineers only. If
Hmm.
they want someone from data science, or to hire someone from for this field, they're only targeting say engineers or computer science backgrounds and all. But
Right.
now the demand is too much, so they are being lenient. They are also trying to give a chance to the people from bcom background. And I had a question on LinkedIn. Someone asked me this question, that they're doing ca and they want to transition over to data science. I
Okay.
said, I mean, there is, like, there's no link basically.
Uh,
If you consider a CA, even CAs are doing a good job. There are a lot of CAs
they,
being passed
yeah,
out, and
they,
so
they, they
that was my
earn.
first question.
Sometimes, people ask, okay, I am from data engineer background, for example, or CA background. See, you can make so much money in your field. Like, why do you want to transition? You have to understand, like, don't go with the hype. Sometimes
Right.
people, oh, data scientist, there is a hype about it, so I want to go.
That's what is going on.
That's what is going on, right? It is bad
Right.
actually, because person need to look at himself. Let's say if you are a good cricket player, and if there is a hype going on about music, you don't want to go and become a musician or a singer. You are
Right.
good in cricket, so just continue playing cricket, you will be
Focus
okay.
on. Yeah.
So if you are CA, there are people. Someone asked me this question. He was from a database engineering background, and I'm like, dude,
Mhm.
as a database engineer, you can make much more money than
Mhm.
even a data scientist. So why the hell
Right.
do you want to move here? Like, think about it first. Like, look at your own situation. don't don't go for it because two of your best friend joined as a data analyst or data scientist in some company. There is a lot of peer
Mhm.
pressure basically, and that is
Yeah.
something which is not good. Now, is data science or a data analysis a hype or a bubble that will burst soon? Like, you are in this industry, so what are your
Right.
thoughts on this?
Uh, so, keeping in mind the pandemic situation, there is a decline over and above, the expected percentage of unemployment. I would say people not hiring or not giving first priority to data science or data analysis. Uh, I think this is where the question comes. If it's gonna last long, or is it the end? Primarily, so I would give an example here. So for example, if I've got 100 rupees and I have to keep my industry running, uh, I would first focus on the production and delivering those items. Currently the situation is, there's a money crunch, there is cash crunch in the economy. Companies are not having a lot of cash to hire, say, data scientists, data analysts. So the economy is in a such a way that there's not a lot of liquidity at the moment.
Mhm.
But as the situation would develop, I think the demand for data science, data analysis would still be at par, or as expected by the experts. It would reach that mark. Currently, every sector, not just data analysis, data science, every sector has taken the hit because of the pandemic.
Mhm.
So we just can't say that the bubble is going to burst anytime soon. It is just the slow time for every uh, field,
It's
because
like
the
every
economy is
industry.
not
It's
boosting.
not just data
Right.
science, like restaurants, every single industry is impacted by this. But my view on it, because I'm in this field for like past many years, uh, the future for this field is very, very bright. And I'm just telling, not because I'm running a YouTube channel on this, but just think about this, like the amount of data that is collected by businesses is growing day by day.
Mm.
And when you make data driven decisions, it helps your business. We have in US a chain grocery stores called Patel Brothers. They have, I think, 44 or 45 stores across the US. And I was visiting my friend in Atlanta, Georgia, and they opened a store. On the first day, there was a huge line. And I'm like, why these guys are so successful in their business? You know, whenever they open a store, that store
Mm.
just gets so much crowded. Then I learned that they use IBM Watson demographic based data analysis techniques to come up with the best location where they should be opening the next store. Previously, if you want to open a next store, you will look at your intuition, some rough information that, yeah, my consumer base is maybe in this area, I will open it. But now it is more driven by data. And when you make decision based on data, it helps your business a lot. So by opening this
Right.
new store, let's say I'm going to add 10 million more revenue, I don't mind spending $500,000 on data analyst. You know, I would be okay hiring a data scientist, data analyst who can help me with this process, because there is like a direct profit that you can see. So definitely, guys, I'm telling you, because I am in this field for with so much confidence, the future of this field is very, very bright. Okay, so I think we covered pretty much all the questions. Is there any concluding remarks that you have, Hitesh? Any advice or any motivation that you want to give to, especially people who are from your background, who are from BCom background?
So I would want to just let the people know that patience is what they require, and also not just patience, they also need to work on the projects uh, to gain more skills. Uh, just working on projects would give you the knowledge, would give you the hands-on training that even online tutors or even a classroom tutor would not be able to give you. It's train yourself while learning this skill. But when you learn it, you try to put it in action. When you put it in action, that's when where you're getting stuck, what are the challenges, how you are going to overcome. There's Stack Overflow you can refer to. So day in day out, when you work on these projects, you will get a hang of it. That's when you will become strong. And by practicing these projects day in day out, and soon you would be able to get into this field. I mean, it's not a big deal to get into this field when you're already having all those skills, worked on the projects. But also, while working on this project and looking for a job, you should have patience.
Okay,
So
so patience,
patience.
skill development, and connection. These are the three keys that Hitesh would
Yeah.
give. And based on our conversation, I can even summarize the specific technical skills, which is, as a data analyst, you always, if you are targeting data analyst career, you always start with Excel. You need to be good in Excel, different graphing, VBA, pivot table, all those skills you need to learn. Then you can move to some visualization. Power BI, Tableau are the most popular. Power BI is being adopted even more in the organization who have Microsoft ecosystem. And then the third skill is SQL, and of course communication, good English communication, storytelling skills, business domain knowledge, which you will have if you are coming from BCom background, right? So combining all those skills, you can definitely make a career. So if you are planning to learn something, start from today. You know, the art of getting things done is to act. So put your action today. Don't be confused so much. And we both wish you all the best of luck. So Hitesh, thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks, Dhaval. Thank you.
And we are going to provide your LinkedIn profile in the video description. So if someone wants to contact you, you're okay with that, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm okay with it.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much, Hitesh.